What's up, everybody, and welcome back to the Doghouse. Yesterday was Mother's Day, so I'd like to take a moment and wish any mothers out there who might be watching a happy Mother's Day. This week, we're going to be talking all about changes. I know that seems to be a reoccurring theme around here, but let's face it, we're Browns fans. Change is inevitable, and it happens all the time. Last week's episode, we talked about the biennial front office makeover. This week, we have more change in the front office. Go figure. I thought I was safe. I thought they were done. They go out and they make changes. Not big ones, but changes nonetheless. We did give David Jenkins a promotion. He is now going to be the team's Executive Vice President, Chief Operating Officer. That's a mouthful. So if you want to use abbreviations, that would be EVP COO. Let's just keep it at that. Now, David's been with the team for 14 years, holding various positions, but he's going to take over more of the business side, financial side, keep the team running financially. So we wish him the best of luck, because that's going to be one heck of a job title to fill out on his next resume, should everything go south in the next 2 years. But other than that, we're going to be talking about more changes throughout the team as a whole. Dee Haslam has come out and said that she wants to redesign the uniforms again. If you recall, the last time we did this was just 3 years ago in 2015. The new uniforms haven't been very well received by pretty much anybody. Nobody's in love with these things. There seems to be two schools of thought when it comes to the new uniforms. One of them is the traditional side, where nobody wanted to see any change. And then there's the more, I wish it was more extreme crowd, which I seem to find myself in. There just wasn't enough for me. They changed the shade of orange that they use in the uniforms. They darkened the brown a little bit, and they threw some stripes on the sleeves and changed the lettering in the numbers. That was really it. I mean, if you're going to take the time to change the uniforms, I think you should really take the time, invest the energy, and change the uniforms. I've seen some really nice stuff out there, a few official Nike designs that look good, and then a handful of just fan concepts that looked probably even better. I remember specifically, there was a flat orange, it was like a flat metallic orange, if you can fathom that, that they had used on the helmet rather than the glossy orange. It just little things like that made it look a whole lot better. I loved the way that helmet looked. I really wish they would have gone with that. I'm not a logo guy on the helmet. We'll call that my traditional side. Let's leave the logos off the helmet, but we'll go with maybe a different finish on the helmets themselves. Now, like I said, they are looking at redesigning everything. This is a 2-year process, so the earliest we're going to see anything for this is 2020. Then Dee decided she wasn't done there. She's not going to stop with uniforms. Dee is investigating stadium options. That's right, our stadium that was built in 1999 is no longer functional to our needs. Again, 2014, 2015, we went through and we made all kinds of changes to the stadium. We increased the size of the monitors and the scoreboards in the stadium. In doing so, we lost 5,000 to 6,000 seats. We upgraded the concessions areas, and we improved our Wi-Fi signal. Really? Wi-Fi? Cellular service? That's what we focused on. We gave away naming rights. We did a little bit of a facelift on the outside of the building, and all of this cost us a mere $150 million. Now, just 3 years later, they're taking a look at everything that was done, and they're saying, that's not really what we needed. What do we do? So, that being said, now this is very, very early in the process. They're just kind of investigating and researching as to what could be done. They don't have any solid plans yet, but some ideas that have been kicked around have been upgrading the current stadium, adding some businesses around the stadium to increase commerce in the city. And then we've heard stuff as crazy as, we're going to move the stadium. Now, don't panic, don't freak out. This isn't a moving the stadium out of the city of Cleveland per se, maybe just to the outskirts of Cleveland. I guess they don't like the location we have there, just too limited growth and limited room to do the things that they want to do. And this is all very preliminary stuff. They don't know if they're building a new stadium yet. They are locked in the lease with the current stadium until 2029, so we're not going to hear about these changes for years to come, and they've got a lot of time to plan this type of stuff. I am also in the school of thought that when we built the stadium back in 99, and here we go, I'm about to make a whole lot more people mad. We should have gone with a dome. This is Cleveland, people. Winter is cold here. Snow is bad here. We're right on the lake, and, everybody says, oh, well, the kickers from opposing teams have such a hard time with field goals in Cleveland because of the winds off the lake. Folks, I don't know if you've been watching the Cleveland Browns recently, but every single one of our kickers has had problems making field goals with the winds off the lake. If you remember correctly, the last one to do it successfully on a consistent basis name was Phil Dawson. He's not been with the team for a very long time. We have not been able to find anybody to compete with him or even come close. Now, let's face it, Dawson was a talented kicker, but, the winds are a factor. And if we can't find somebody to make field goals in an open-air stadium on the lake with the wind, maybe it was a bad idea. Now, I'm not saying we should redesign and rebuild our stadium from the ground up just for the purpose of the kicker being able to make field goals, but it would help. Dawson was probably, he led the team in points for, 3 years in a row? Yeah, we rely on kickers around here, and if we can't do it, then we can't do it. That's no good. Now, Dee did also mention that she was going to look at possibly renovating the stadium further. In my opinion, we just dropped $150 million into a stadium to put in a big screen TV, make our restaurants a little fancier, and lose the capability of holding 6,000 more people in the stadium. Kind of seems backwards. You make money by selling tickets and seats, and you lose 6,000 seats. You're losing 6,000 ticket sales per week. The original stadium, in its original form, I should say, held 72,300 people. Now we're down to like 66,000. You've lost a whole lot of market right there, and you're losing revenue. So I would assume that they want to bring that revenue back in with more seating, especially if they can put a winning product on the field that we can cheer for years to come and people actually want to come see. They're going to want those seats back. So my thoughts are, unless you're going to put a whole nother level on this thing, we'll call it the double nosebleed section. I don't see how they're going to make these changes without something drastic happening to the stadium itself. So I would say maybe look for that new stadium 2029. Don't quote me. You didn't hear it here first. I'm not breaking any news. I'm just saying, maybe I just have a limited imagination. I can't picture what's going to happen with this stadium in the future as far as being able to renovate it further. We'll see what happens. There's unlimited possibilities here. I would like to see a dome come to Cleveland. Call me crazy, but December's watching football games outside on the lake, swirling winds. No, I'm not for that. I'd much rather sit on my couch, and I think that's kind of the mentality of a lot of people here in Cleveland. When it comes to December games. Only time will tell what actually happens with the stadium when it comes time. The stadium will be 40 years old by the time any of these changes would be made, and which isn't exactly ancient in stadium years, but one never knows, right? So that's it for this week's episode of The Doghouse. Thanks for tuning in. Leave some comments down below. Let me know what you think about everything we talked about today. What do you think they should do with the stadium? Are you excited to see the uniform changes? Let's talk about it. Leave me some comments. We'll discuss it a bit. Until next week, thanks for watching The Doghouse. Can't really see expanding this stadium much further than it. I am Alsco. New word, Alsco. I lost my train of thought.